Hi, let me go ahead and discuss with you the solution or the working for each of the problem that is included in the discussion section of circle. For number 1, you're asked to write the equation in standard form of the circle with center at 3, -2 and radius that is equal to 4. So we just have to write what is or what are given in the problem. You're given that the center of the circle is at 3, -2 and that the radius is equal to 4. And we're asked to write the equation in the standard form. Remember that the standard form of the equation of a circle is given by x minus h square plus y minus k square equal to r square. So that means we just have to substitute from this equation based on what are given on the problem. So the given in the problem is the center, and the center identifies that h is equal to 3 and your k is equal to -2, and of course you have your r, which is equal to 4. Substitution, you'll have x minus h is 3 square plus y minus k, which is -2 square, and then equal to r square, where r is equal to 4 and that is squared. Right, now we have to simplify. You'll get x minus 3 squared plus y minus 2 square, or plus because of the negative signs here, and then squared equal to 16. So this now is known as the standard form of the equation of your circle. Now, if an additional question is provided, say you were asked to write the equation in the general form, so how would you do the solution? Okay, since you already obtained the standard form, we'll just work on the standard form by simply expanding it. So x minus 3 square plus the quantity y plus 2 square equals 16. Now we have to simplify this or expand. So the square means multiplying the base by itself twice. So it's like you got x minus 3 times x minus 3 if you recall the product. Okay, this is actually a square of a binomial. So simply square the first term to get the product. Square the last term, which is +9. Multiply the first and the second, that's -3. And then times 2, that's -6x. So this is now the expanded form of the first term. Now plus the second term. So you simply square the first term again. You have y square. Square the last term. That's +4. Multiply the first and the second term. That's 2y times 2 is 4y. The middle sign is plus. Therefore, it's plus equals 16. Now, rearrange the term in such a way all the variables of the highest power are on the first part. So it's like you have x square plus y square, right? And then you got -6x. You got plus 4y. And then you got +9 here, the constant, plus 4. And then transpose -16 to the left, that's -16 equals 0. And then you got to simplify again. X square plus y square is minus 6x plus 4y. Combine, 9 plus 4 is 13. Minus 16 gives you -3 equals 0. This equation is known as the general form of the equation of a circle. So should you be asked to find the general form, this is what you will need to do. Okay? But since the problem only asks for the standard form, this will be your answer. Okay, now we'll go to the second part of the given. So given the equation, x minus 2 quantity square plus y plus 5 quantity square equals 16. you're asked to determine the center and the radius. Okay, for number 2, I just have to rewrite the given. That is x minus 2 square, or quantity square, plus y plus 5 quantity square is equal to 16. You are asked to find the center and the radius. The center is actually given by hk. So it's clear that this is your h and this is your k, right? So center is at 2 and k is at negative 5. Why negative 5? Because the standard form tells you to have minus sign here. So to have minus sign here, this part should be negative 5, right? Okay. Now radius, or r square, is equal to 16. But since you're asked to find the radius, how do we find r? We need to get the square root on both sides, right? Square root of r square is r, and square root of 16 is 4. But take note, when you extract the square root, it's always plus and minus. But we will only consider the positive root. Why? Because you're referring to a radius, and radius is always positive. So this is the radius, this is the center of your circle. Okay, are we clear on this? Okay, let's go to the second part. You're asked to sketch the graph of x squared plus y squared minus 2x minus 15 equals 0. Okay, let me rewrite the equation. So that is x squared plus y squared, correct? Minus 2x minus 15 equals 0. How do you think you'll be able to graph the equation? Okay, let's go back to problem number 2. You were able to identify that the center is at 2, negative 5, right? And the radius is at, or is equal to 4. So if you're able to get the center and the radius, you should be able to graph the circle. So in this example, let's try to do the graph for number 1 before we do number 3. Okay? So make sure to label your axis. Okay, intersection is at 0. Center is at 2, so the value of x is 1, 2. Right? The value of y is negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 5. So we'll just drop a line here and another line that's perpendicular to x. This is perpendicular to y. The intersection would be your center, which is at 2, negative 5. Now we just have to measure a radius that is equal to 4. So from here, you need to measure 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one must be, this is your radius, which is 4. So from here, you also have to count 1, 2, 3, 4. This must be the other part of this must be another radius, okay? So downwards, you have to measure 1, 2, 3, 4. So that must be the other endpoint. To the left, you'll have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you just have to connect all the points to create the circle. Okay, this must be a perfect circle. So that would mean if you measure any distance from the center to any point here, r is always equal to 4. So that's how you would draw the graph of your equation. So for number 3, for us to be able to graph this, we need the equation in this form. Again, what do you call the form? It's called the standard form. Now, this form is called general form. So basically, what you're given here is the general form of the equation of your circle. And we need to convert or to transform this into the standard form. Now, how do you transform an equation in standard form to a general form? Okay, what you need to do is to combine like terms of the equation. we will regroup the terms in such a way all the x's are together, all the y's are together, and the constants are on the other side of the equation. So we will rewrite, you got x squared, and then minus 2x should be together with x squared, so no more x here, and then plus y squared, there are no y's given. Then we'll put the constant to the other side, so you'll have 15 on the other side. Okay, now things to consider when transforming equation into the general or standard form from general form is to perform yung the one that you call completing the square. So to complete the square means to transform each into a perfect square trinomial. So make sure that the second degree terms are with coefficient equal to 1. So since there are no numbers written beside x squared and y squared, it is considered to have an imaginary number 1 here, right? Okay, so making sure that the coefficients are 1, we'll go to this second term. So what you need to do is to get half of the numerical coefficient here. So how much is half of negative 1? Half of negative 1 is, half of negative 2. Half of negative 2 is negative 1, right? So half of negative 2 is negative 1, and you square negative 1, that would be positive 1. So it's like you have added positive 1 here. So we need to add positive 1 on the other side also. Okay? Now, here, there's no second term, there's no third term. Right? Okay. So we'll just have to factor out this in such a way you will have the form x minus h squared. Plus, this will be in the form y minus k squared equals 16 on the other side because of 15 plus 1, right? Now, how do we find the factors here? Since this is a perfect square trinomial, you just have to get the square root here. The square root is 1, so you just put 1 here. So since minus here, you should have minus at the middle. So that would mean if you will expand this, you square the first term, you're supposed to get the first term here. You square the first term here, you're supposed to get the first term here. If you multiply both, that's negative 1 times 2, it's actually the middle term. So that makes this a perfect square trinomial, which is the result of expanding a square of a binomial. Now on the second part, since there are no terms here, so it's like you got minus 0. Why? Because when you square this, you should be getting square here of y. When you square 0, it's like you have added 0 here. If you multiply both, this gives you 0 also, or minus 0, right? So it's like y squared plus 0 is the same as y squared. Therefore, this will be your complete factored form here. Now, you are in the standard form. So from the standard form, you could always identify the center, which is negative 1 and 0. 0 doesn't have any sign, right? Okay, our r square is equal to 16, and we're looking for the value of r. Get the square roots on both sides so that you have your r to be equal to the square root of 16, which is 4. Again, we'll only take the positive root. Center is at negative 1, 0. Radius is at 4. Ready for the graph? Draw the Cartesian plane. You got your x and your y axis. So what do we need to do? X is negative 1, so we'll be moving negative 1 here. Y is 0, so we're not moving up. Therefore, this will be the center, which is negative 1, 0. Radius is at 4, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you will have 1, 2, 3, 4. So just connect the points to form your circle. So again, radius is at 4. Were you able to follow the solutions for each item? Okay. I hope you got your answers all correct in the discussion part. Okay? So I'll give you time to reflect on the solution, so that next time you will have a quiz, you'll be able to answer problems of similar questions. Okay?